The bullet catches light before it catches flesh. Kier Halden sees it the same way you see headlights right before impact. Too late to think, only to move. His body doesn't ask permission. 1 second he's pressed against the club's back wall, rain-soaked hoodie clinging to the curve of his belly, and the next he's airborne, hands outstretched, crashing into the broad chest of a man who smells like gunpowder and expensive cologne. The shot cracks through the iron lark like thunder-splitting bone. Blood sprays hot across Kier's sleeve. Not his blood. The alpha boss, Dante Ruscetti, Seattle's most feared name whispered in back rooms and police reports, staggers backward, one hand clutching his shoulder, the other locked around Kier's wrist like iron. The room erupts, tables flip, glass shatters, someone screams, someone else fires back into the darkness where the shooter hid, and Kier's knees buckle because his body finally catches up to what his instincts already knew. He just threw himself in front of a Mafia king's bullet. Dante's grip tightens. His eyes, cold, grey, brutal, lock onto Kier's face with an intensity that makes Kier's stomach twist. Not desire, not gratitude, recognition. "Don't move," Dante rasps, voice low and sharp despite the blood soaking through his tailored shirt. Kier's lips tremble, he can't feel his legs. The pup inside him kicks once hard, like it knows Mama just did something stupid. They were going to kill you. Dante stares at him like Kier just committed a sin worse than murder. "You jumped," Dante says, each word deliberate, "for me." Kier doesn't know how to explain the instinct that hijacked his body. The same instinct that made him run 6 months pregnant through Seattle rain with nothing but stolen cash and a fake ID. The same instinct that kept him off grids and out of clinics because someone had been tracking his medical records like breadcrumbs. Dante inhales, deep, deliberate, his nostrils flare. Then his eyes widen. Not with lust, not with confusion, with shock so raw it cracks the icy mask he wears like armor. "Marrow," Dante breathes. The name hits Kier like a second bullet. No one speaks that name anymore, not since the crash, not since the headlines screamed billionaire heir dies in Rocky Mountain plane disaster, and the city pretended to mourn while the underworld celebrated. Marrow Vale, Kier's alpha, Kier's mate, the father of the pup currently bruising Kier's ribs from the inside. Dead 8 months. Supposedly. Dante's jaw clenches so hard Kier hears teeth grind. "Who are you?" he demands, each word a blade, "and why do you smell like the man they buried?" Kier's vision blurs, his knees finally give out. Dante catches him before he hits the blood-slicked floor, and the movement sends fresh pain radiating through Dante's shoulder, but he doesn't let go. Around them, Dante's men move with military precision. 2 drag a figure from the balcony shadows, the shooter, face covered, shoulder dislocated from the tackle. Another seals the exits. A third speaks rapid-fire into a phone, words Kier can't process through the ringing in his ears. Dante hauls Kier upright with his good arm, positions him against the wall, blocks him with his body like Kier's, suddenly worth more than the bullet wound, bleeding through a $1,000 shirt. "Boss," one of the men calls, "he's talking." They shove the shooter forward. Blood runs from his nose, his mask hangs loose, and when he speaks, his voice rattles like gravel down a drain. "It won't matter," the shooter whispers, eyes glassy with shock or drugs or both. "The crash worked, this will too." The words slice through the chaos like a knife through silk. Kier's breath stops. The crash worked. His hands fly to his belly, protective, instinctive. The pup kicks again, harder this time, like it feels the shift in Kier's heartbeat, the spike of adrenaline turning his blood to ice water. Dante's head whips toward the shooter. "What crash?" The man laughs, it sounds wet. The one that should have ended this, should have buried the bloodline. His eyes find Kier through the crowd. But the Omega ran, and now Quade wants what Marrow left behind. Kier's legs try to fold again. This time Dante doesn't catch him gently. He grabs Kier by both shoulders, forces him to meet those cold grey eyes that suddenly burn with something Kier can't name. "Listen to me," Dante says, and his voice drops to something too quiet for anyone else to hear. "Marrow didn't die because of weather." Kier shakes his head. No, the news said mechanical failure, pilot error, bad storm over the Rockies." "He died," Dante continues, each word careful and deliberate, "because someone ordered it." The room tilts, Kier tastes copper, his throat closes around words that won't come. Dante's gaze drops to Kier's belly. For one heartbeat too, his expression shifts, not lust, not tenderness, something colder, something that looks like possession wrapped in inevitability. "Whoever tried to kill me tonight, Dante says, voice hard as concrete, is the same person who killed your alpha. Kier's hand covers his stomach. The pup moves under his palm, unaware it's already a target, already a weapon, already the heir to a dead king's throne. Dante leans closer, his breath ghosts across Kier's ear. And they won't stop, he whispers, until they erase everything Marrow loved. Dante's men move like wolves around a kill, efficient, silent, brutal. Kier watches through a haze of shock as they zip-tie the shooter's wrists. Watches as Dante barks orders, despite the blood spreading dark and wet across his shoulder. Watches as the club empties in under 90 seconds, civilians fleeing through side exits while armed guards seal every door. Nobody calls the police. Nobody ever calls the police. Dante's grip on Kier's wrist hasn't loosened. If anything, it's tightened, fingers pressed against the pulse point like he's counting heartbeats, measuring panic. Let me go, Kier manages, but his voice comes out thin and shaky. No, I need to. You need to shut up and listen. Dante yanks him closer, close enough that Kier can see the scar that cuts through his jawline, a slash of old violence that someone survived. You walked into my club, took a bullet meant for me, and you smell like a dead man. His eyes narrow. So either you tell me who you are, or I drag it out of you the hard way. Kier's stomach cramps, stress, fear, the pup reacting to the adrenaline flooding his system. He presses his free hand against his belly, tries to breathe through the tightness. Dante notices, his expression doesn't soften, but something flickers behind the cold mask. You're pregnant. It's not a question. 6 months, Kier whispers before he can stop himself. Dante's jaw works. He looks at Kier like he's solving a puzzle with missing pieces. And the father. Kier's throat closes. Across the room, one of Dante's men, tall, dark-skinned, with hands the size of dinner plates, approaches. Boss, we got a problem. Dante doesn't look away from Kier. Talk. Shooter's got a dead man's switch, cyanide capsule, bit down before we could stop him. Dante's eyes close for half a second. When they open, they're colder. Search him, everything, phone, wallet, tattoos, dental work. I want to know who sent him. Already on it, the man hesitates. But boss, he said something before he went down, about Quade. The name hits the room like a fist. Kier feels it in the way Dante's grip spasms, in the way the other guards exchange glances, in the way the air itself seems to thicken with something ugly and inevitable. What did he say? Dante's voice drops to a register that makes Kier's spine lock. He said Quade knows about the Omega, said the crash was just the beginning. Kier's vision tunnels, his ears ring. The crash, the plane that went down 8 months ago with Marrow inside, the wreckage scattered across Colorado wilderness, the closed casket funeral, the news cycle that moved on within a week because billionaires die all the time and the world keeps turning. Except the shooter said the crash worked. Which means it wasn't an accident. Which means someone planned it. Which means... Kier's knees buckle. This time Dante catches him with both arms despite the bullet wound, and the movement makes him hiss through clenched teeth, but he doesn't let go. Hauls Kier upright, steadies him against the wall. Breathe, Dante orders. Kier can't, his chest won't expand, his lungs won't fill. The room spins like he's underwater, drowning in realizations that keep crashing over him one after another. They killed him, Kier gasps. They Marrow, it wasn't. Breathe, Dante repeats, and this time there's something almost gentle in the command. His hand presses flat against Kier's sternum, grounding him. In through your nose, out through your mouth, do it. Kier tries, fails, tries again. His body finally obeys. Dragging in air that tastes like gunpowder and spilled alcohol. Dante waits until Kier's breathing evens, then he leans in close, voice low enough that no one else can hear. Marrow Vale was your mate. It's not a question, but Kier nods anyway. And that's his pup. Another nod. Dante's expression does something complicated. Surprise, understanding, fury. Then you're the one Quade's been hunting. Kier's stomach drops. How do you? Because I've been looking for you too. Dante's hand moves from Kier's chest to his shoulder, grip firm but not bruising. Marrow came to me 3 weeks before he died. Said if anything happened to him, I needed to find his Omega. Said you'd be carrying something worth more than every territory in Seattle combined. Kier's heart hammers. He knew someone was going to. He suspected. Dante's jaw tightens. He didn't tell me who, didn't give me a name. Just said if he went down, the wolves would come for you next. So why didn't you find me? The words come out sharper than Kier intends. Dante's eyes flash. Because you disappeared the day after the funeral, vanished like smoke. No phone, no address, no trail. His grip tightens. I've had people searching for 6 months. And then you walk into my club, take a bullet for me, and smell exactly like the man who warned me you existed. Kier's breath shudders. I had to run. They were tracking my clinic visits. Someone broke into my apartment. I couldn't. His voice cracks. I couldn't stay. You should have come to me. I didn't know you. Kier shoves at Dante's chest, but it's like pushing a wall. I didn't know who to trust. Marrow's dead, and everyone who hated him suddenly wanted to be my best friend. His voice rises despite himself. So yeah, I ran, and I survived, and I... The pup kicks, hard enough that Kier gasps, hand flying to his belly. Dante's eyes drop, track the movement. Something in his expression shifts again, and Kier realizes with a jolt that this man, this brutal, feared Mafia boss, is looking at Kier's stomach like it's a holy relic. Boss, another guard calls. Vehicles ready. We need to move before Quade's people regroup. Dante's hand slides from Kier's shoulder to his wrist again. You're coming with me. Like hell I am. You don't have a choice. Dante starts pulling him toward the exit. Kier digs in his heels. You can't just... Watch me. Dante turns, and the look on his face makes Kier's protests die in his throat. You walked in here alone, pregnant, bleeding, running from people who want you dead. He steps closer. So here's how this works. You come with me or you walk back out into that rain and see how long you last. Kier's hands shake. You don't get to decide. I'm deciding anyway. Dante's voice drops. Because Marrow asked me to protect you. And because that pup you're carrying is the only thing standing between Seattle and a gang war that'll burn this city to ash. His eyes bore into Kier's. So move, now. They burst into the alley. 3 black SUVs idle with engines running, headlights cutting through the downpour. Dante hauls Kier toward the middle vehicle, yanks open the door, shoves him inside. Kier barely has time to register the leather seats before Dante slides in beside him and slams the door. Drive. The vehicle lurches forward. Kier twists in his seat, looking back at the club, at the neon sign flickering through the rain, at the shadows moving in the alley mouth, and at the figure standing perfectly still in the downpour, watching their convoy disappear. Tall, broad-shouldered, wearing a coat that hangs exactly the way Marrow's used to hang. Kier's heart stops. Because for one impossible second, the figure's face catches the streetlight. And Kier sees Marrow Vale's scar, the one that cut through his left eyebrow, the one Kier used to trace with his fingertips when they lay tangled together in bed. Then the SUV turns a corner, and the figure vanishes. Kier's breath comes in gasps. His hands shake so hard he has to grip his knees to steady them. Beside him, Dante watches with eyes that miss nothing. What did you see? Kier's voice cracks. Nothing, I saw nothing. Dante doesn't look convinced. But before he can press, his phone buzzes. He glances at the screen and his expression goes dead. What? Kier asks. Dante turns the phone so Kier can see. It's a text, no number, just words. He didn't die in an accident. He was executed. The safe house smells like bleach and old wood. Kier sits on the edge of a leather couch that's seen better years, hands wrapped around a mug of tea he hasn't touched. His hoodie drips rainwater onto the floor. His shoes squelch every time he shifts. And his mind keeps replaying the same image over and over. That figure in the rain, standing where no one should have been standing, wearing a face that shouldn't exist anymore. Across the room, Dante paces while a woman with silver-streaked hair stitches his shoulder. He hasn't made a sound, hasn't flinched, just stares at Kier like he's trying to read a book written in a language he doesn't speak. You're in shock, the woman says without looking up from her needle. Her name's Maya. She introduced herself when they arrived, but Kier barely registered it through the fog in his head. I'm fine, Kier lies. You're not fine. You jumped in front of a bullet, found out your mate was murdered, and then hallucinated seeing him in an alley. Maya ties off the thread with practiced efficiency. That's textbook shock. I didn't hallucinate. Then what did you see? Kier's jaw tightens. He stares into his tea instead of answering. Maya exchanges a look with Dante. He needs rest and food. When's the last time you ate? Kier can't remember. Yesterday, the day before. Time blurs when you're running. I'll get him something, Dante says, shrugging into a clean shirt. The bandage on his shoulder shows white through the fabric. We need to talk first. You need to let him breathe first, Maya counters, but Dante's already crossing the room, pulling a chair close enough that their knees almost touch when he sits. Kier shrinks back, not from fear, though maybe he should be afraid, from proximity, from the way Dante's presence fills space like gravity, pulling everything toward him whether it wants to be pulled or not. Tell me about Marrow, Dante says. Kier's throat closes. What's there to tell? You already know he's dead. I know what the news said. I want to know what you know. Dante leans forward, elbows on his knees. How'd you meet? Why does it matter? Because someone wanted him dead badly enough to stage a plane crash. And if I'm going to keep you alive, I need to understand why. Kier's hands tighten around the mug. The tea's gone cold. We met at a gallery, one of those pretentious art shows where rich people buy paintings they don't understand. He swallows. Marrow hated it, said he only went because his PR team insisted. I was there because my friend dragged me. And he smelled like cedar and rain, and when he looked at me I felt. Kier stops, shakes his head. Doesn't matter. It matters. It doesn't, he's dead. The words taste bitter. Whatever we had, it's gone. Dante studies him for a long moment. He marked you. It's not a question. Kier's hand moves instinctively to his neck, to the scar hidden beneath his collar, the mark Marrow left when their bond snapped into place, when Kier's world narrowed to one alpha's heartbeat and nothing else mattered. Yeah, Kier whispers, he marked me. And you marked him back. Of course I did, Kier's voice cracks. I loved him and he promised. He can't finish. Can't say the words out loud because saying them makes them real, and real hurts too much. Maya appears with a sandwich, sets it on the table beside Kier. Eat, she orders gently, then disappears back into whatever room she came from. Kier doesn't touch the food. Dante leans back in his chair, eyes never leaving Kier's face. What did he promise? That he'd keep me safe. Kier laughs, but it sounds broken. That no matter what happened, I'd never have to be afraid again. His hand moves to his belly. He promised our pup would grow up knowing what it felt like to be protected. Silence settles between them like snow. Then Dante speaks, and his voice is softer than Kier's heard it. Marrow came to me 5 years ago, back when I was trying to negotiate peace between the northern and southern territories. He pauses. He saved my life, took a knife that was meant for my throat. Kier looks up sharply. We weren't friends, Dante continues, but we respected each other, and when he showed up 3 weeks before the crash, looking like he hadn't slept in days, I knew something was wrong. What did he say? He said the syndicates were shifting, that someone was making moves to consolidate power, and it was going to get bloody. Dante's jaw tightens. He said if anything happened to him, I needed to protect his omega, that you'd be carrying the only thing that mattered. Kier's breath catches. He knew they were coming for him. He suspected, but he didn't know who, or when. Dante's hands curl into fists. He gave me a file, said if he died, I should look into his business partners, specifically Hullen Quade, Kier whispers. Dante's eyes sharpen. You know him. Marrow talked about him sometimes, said Quade smiled too much, said men who smile that much are dangerous because they're always performing. Kier's stomach turns. After the crash, Quade sent flowers, expensive ones, with a card that said he was sorry for my loss. Did you keep the card? I burned it, Kier's hands shake, because the flowers smelled wrong, like they were meant to celebrate, not mourn. Dante pulls out his phone, swipes through screens until he finds what he's looking for, then turns it toward Kier. This him. The photo shows a man in his 50s, handsome in a calculated way, silver hair slicked back, eyes that don't match his smile. Kier's stomach drops. That's him. Dante's expression goes cold. Hullen Quade runs the Eastern Territories, owns half the judges in Seattle and most of the ports. He pockets the phone, and according to the file Marrow left me, Quade's been skimming from syndicate shipments for 3 years. Marrow knew. Marrow had proof, ledgers, recordings, enough to bury Quade in front of every boss from here to Chicago. Dante's voice drops, and 2 weeks before the crash, Marrow told me he was planning to present the evidence at the Winter Summit. Kier's world tilts. Quade killed him. Quade killed him, Dante confirms, and now Quade's hunting you. Why? Kier's voice rises despite himself. I don't have anything. I don't know where Marrow kept his files. I can't. You're carrying Marrow's heir. Dante leans forward again. As long as that pup's alive, it's a symbol, a claim to Marrow's territories, his assets, his power. His eyes bore into Kier's. Quade can't consolidate control while Marrow's bloodline exists. The truth hits like a fist. They don't want Kier dead. They want the pup dead. Kier's hand covers his belly. The pup shifts under his palm, oblivious to the target painted on its back. I won't let that happen, Dante says, and there's something in his voice, something hard and immovable, that makes Kier believe him. Marrow asked me to protect you, so that's what I'm doing. Why, Kier asks, why would you risk a war with Quade over me? Dante doesn't answer right away, just looks at Kier with an expression that's impossible to read. Finally he says, because Marrow was my friend, and because I don't let people murder my friends and walk away clean. Before Kier can respond, the door bursts open. One of Dante's guards, the same man from the club, strides in with his phone in hand. Boss, you need to see this. Dante stands, takes the phone. His expression darkens with every second. What? Kier asks. Dante turns the screen. It's security footage, grainy, black and white, but clear enough to show a figure entering a warehouse. The timestamp reads 3 months ago. The figure walks with Marrow's gait, moves with Marrow's confidence. Where's Marrow's face? Kier stops breathing. That warehouse, Dante says slowly, burned down the night before Marrow's plane crashed. Kier's vision tunnels. That's not possible, that footage is from 3 months ago, Dante finishes, which means Marrow was alive 3 months after he supposedly died. The room spins. Kier's tea hits the floor, mug shattering, liquid spreading across hardwood. And the only thought screaming through his head is this. If Marrow didn't die in the crash, where the hell is he now? Dante's hand closes around Kier's arm before he hits the floor. Breathe, Dante orders, but Kier can't breathe, can't think, can't process what he just saw because it doesn't make sense. None of it makes sense. Marrow's dead. They found the wreckage, they found bodies. They held a funeral where Kier stood in the rain and watched them lower a closed casket into the ground. Except that footage shows Marrow alive 3 months after the crash. Sit down, Dante says, getting Kier back to the couch with a grip that doesn't allow argument. You're hyperventilating. I'm not, Kier gasps, but his lungs won't cooperate. The room tilts. His vision blurs at the edges. Maya appears with a paper bag. Breathe into this, slowly. Kier takes it with shaking hands, breathes, in, out, in, out. The dizziness recedes fraction by fraction until the world steadies into something recognizable again. Better, Maya asks. Kier nods, though it's a lie. Nothing's better. Everything just got impossibly worse. Dante crouches in front of him, eye level, expression unreadable. I need you to focus. Can you do that? You just showed me proof my dead mate might be alive. How am I supposed to? Focus, Dante repeats, and there's steel in his voice. Because if Marrow's alive, we need to figure out where he is and why he hasn't contacted you. Kier's hands tighten around the paper bag. You think he abandoned me? I think someone's holding him. Dante stands, starts packing again. That warehouse was a front, owned by one of Marrow's shell companies. The fire was ruled accidental, but the timing's too convenient. Convenient how? It burned the night before the crash, which means someone was tying up loose ends. Dante's jaw works. If Marrow was alive 3 months post-crash, and we only found out about it now, that means someone buried the footage, kept it hidden. Kier's brain struggles to catch up. Who would have access? Someone close, someone Marrow trusted. Dante stops packing, turns to face Kier, who handled Marrow's affairs after he died. His lawyer, Grugger Tate. You trust him? Kier hesitates. Marrow did. That's not what I asked. Kier stops, thinks back to the weeks after the funeral, to Grugger showing up at his apartment with papers to sign, to the way Grugger watched him like he was cataloguing every movement. He asked a lot of questions, about where I was staying, whether I needed money. Dante's eyes narrow, and I lied, told him I was moving to Portland to stay with family. Kier swallows. I didn't have family, I just didn't want him knowing where I'd be. Smart, Dante pulls out his phone, types something. I'm having Grugger looked into, if he's connected to Quade. Why would Marrow's lawyer work with the man trying to kill me? Money, fear, blackmail, take your pick. Dante's phone buzzes. He reads the message and his expression darkens. Grugger Tate hasn't been seen in 2 weeks. His office says he's on vacation. Kier's stomach drops. That's not a coincidence. No, it's not. Dante pockets the phone, which means we're running out of time. Time for what? Dante looks at him, and for the first time, Kier sees something almost like regret in those cold eyes. Time before Quade realizes we have proof Marrow might still be alive, because the second he knows, he'll move faster, harder. To kill me. To kill the pup. Dante's voice softens just barely. Your leverage, the pup's a liability. Kier's hand moves to his belly. The pup kicks strong and steady. 6 months are long, 14 weeks until term, 14 weeks to survive. The hours blur together after that. Dante makes calls. Maya comes and goes with reports. Guards patrol the perimeter. And Kier sits in the suff hus, hands on his belly, trying to process a reality that keeps shifting under his feet. Night falls, rain hammers against windows. The city becomes a blur of lights and shadows beyond the glass. Kier's exhausted but can't sleep. Every time he closes his eyes, he sees that figure in the alley, sees Marrow's scar, sees the ghost of a man who shouldn't exist. His phone, recovered from his abandoned apartment and returned by one of Dante's people, sits on the bedside table. Silent, dark. Until it isn't. The screen lights up with a message. Kier's heart stops. Unknown number, 3 words and a signature. Stop running, I'm coming for you. Kier's hands shake as he picks up the phone. He stares at those words until they blur, until his vision doubles and his breath comes too fast. Marrow. But the message doesn't feel like a rescue. It feels like something else, something darker, something that makes Kier's skin crawl even as hope flares in his chest. He should tell Dante, should show someone, but his fingers are already moving, typing a response before his brain catches up. Who is this? The reply comes immediately. Do you know who? Kier's stomach turns. Prove it. 3 dots appear, disappear, reappear. Finally, you have a scar, left hip, from when you fell climbing the fence behind my estate. I carried you to the medical wing. You wouldn't stop apologizing even though it wasn't your fault. The memory crashes over him. That happened 2 years ago, before the bond, before everything changed. A stupid accident that Marrow turned gentle, carrying Kier like he was something precious instead of clumsy. No one else knows that story. Marrow, Kier types, tears blurring his vision. Yes. Where are you? I can't say, not yet. Why not? Because they're watching, they're always watching. Who? No response. Kier waits, heart hammering, hope and fear warring in his chest. Finally, the dots reappear. I know and I'm sorry, but you need to trust me. Can you do that? Can he? Kier doesn't know. Trust shattered when that plane went down. When the world said Marrow was dead and Kier had to survive alone. When 8 months passed without a word, without a sign, without any reason to hope. Why didn't you come back? Kier types through tears. Why did you let me think you were dead? I didn't have a choice. Everyone has a choice. Not when someone's holding your mate hostage. The words freeze Kier's blood. What? They have you, they've always had you. The second I disappeared, you became the leverage. Who has me? I can't say not over text, but I'm coming, tomorrow night, the harbor, Pier 17. Kier's breath catches, his hands shake so badly he can barely hold the phone. How do I know this isn't a trap? You don't, but if you want answers, you'll come. The dots disappear. Kier types frantically, Marrow, wait. But the message won't send, number blocked. He sits in the darkness, phone clutched in trembling hands, mind spinning through possibilities that all feel like traps. Tomorrow night, Pier 17, answers or betrayal, truth or death. The door opens, Dante enters without knocking, expression grim. We need to talk, Dante says. Kier shoves the phone under his pillow. His heart hammers, guilt tastes like copper on his tongue. About what? About the fact that you're hiding something. Dante sits on the edge of the bed. His eyes are too sharp, too knowing. And before you lie, understand that I've been doing this long enough to read people, especially scared pregnant omegas with terrible poker faces. Kier's jaw tightens. I don't know what you're talking about. Your phone lit up twice in the past hour. You jumped both times, and now you're sitting here looking like you've seen a ghost. Dante's voice is quiet, controlled. so I'll ask once, what happened? Kier weighs his options. Lie and risk Dante finding out anyway. Tell the truth and risk. What? Marrow's safety, his own freedom, the fragile protection Dante's offered. I got a message, Kier finally says, from someone claiming to be Marrow. Dante's expression doesn't change, but something flickers in his eyes. Show me. I can't, he blocked the number. Then tell me what it said. Kier's hands fist in the blankets, that he's coming for me, tomorrow night, Pier 17. Silence hangs between them like a blade. Dante's jaw works, his hands curl into fists on his knees. When he finally speaks, his voice is dangerously quiet. And you were planning to go, alone. I wasn't. Don't lie to me, Dante stands, starts packing. You were going to sneak out, walk into what's obviously a trap, get yourself and that pup killed. You don't know it's a trap. I know Marrow's been supposedly alive for months without contacting you. I know Quade's hunting you. I know someone leaked our safe house locations. Dante turns, eyes burning. And I know that message came at the exact moment you're desperate enough to believe anything. Kier's throat tightens. He knew things, private things, things only Marrow would know. Or things someone extracted from Marrow before they killed him. Or things from your apartment, your phone, your life. Dante's voice softens just slightly. Kier, I understand. I understand wanting to believe he's alive, but walking into that pier alone is suicide. Then come with me. It's what they want us divided, vulnerable. Or maybe it's really him. Kier's voice cracks. Maybe he's been prisoner this whole time. Maybe he needs me. Dante studies him for a long moment. Then, surprisingly, he sits back down. Okay. Kier blinks. Okay. We'll go, but we do it my way. Dante pulls out his phone. I'll have 20 men in position before we arrive. Snipers on the rooftops. Boats in the water. If it's Marrow, we'll get him out. If it's a trap, we'll survive it. You'd really do that? I told you I'd protect you. That means protecting you even from yourself. Dante's eyes meet his, but you have to promise me something. What? That you'll trust me, that if I say run, you run, if I say hide, you hide. No arguments, no hesitation. Kier swallows hard, and if it really is Marrow? Then I'll step aside and let you have your reunion. Dante's voice is steady, honest, but until we know for sure, you're under my protection. Agreed. Kier nods slowly. Agreed. The next day passes in tense preparation. Maya briefs the team. Dante coordinates positions. Kier sits in his room, hands on his belly, talking to the pup in whispers. Tomorrow you might meet your papa, Kier says softly. The man I've told you about, the man who loved us. The pup kicks, strong, eager. Or maybe not, maybe it's someone pretending, someone dangerous. Kier's voice wavers. But either way, Mama's going to keep you safe, I promise. Evening comes. Dante appears with body armor that's been modified to fit around Kier's belly. It won't stop everything, Dante says, helping Kier into it, but it's better than nothing. I look ridiculous. You look alive, that's all that matters. Dante's hands are surprisingly gentle as he adjusts the straps. How are you feeling? Any contractions? No, the pup's calm today. Good, keep it that way. Dante steps back, checking his own weapons. Remember the rules, stay behind me, do what I say, don't take risks. I remember. They leave as the sun sets. The convoy consists of 3 vehicles this time, each packed with armed guards. Kier rides with Dante in the middle car, Maya driving. The harbor district appears through the rain-streaked windows. Warehouses loom like sleeping giants. The water beyond is black and endless. Team Alpha in position, a voice crackles through Dante's earpiece. Team Beta set. Team Gamma ready. Dante nods, good, eyes open. Anything moves, you report it. They park 2 blocks from Pier 17. The final approach is on foot. Kier's legs shake as he climbs out of the SUV. The body armor is heavy. His pregnant belly throws off his balance, but Dante's hand steadies him, keeps him upright. Ready? Dante asks. No, but let's do this anyway. They walk through shadows. Dante's gun is drawn. 2 guards flank them. Mori follow at a distance, invisible until needed. The pier stretches ahead, long and isolated. Waves lap against wooden posts. The city lights reflect on black water like fallen stars. At the end of the pier, a figure waits. Kier's breath catches. Even from this distance, he recognizes the silhouette, the broad shoulders, the way he stands with weight slightly on his left leg, an old injury from years ago. Marrow. Wait, Dante orders, hand on Kier's arm. Let me check first. But Kier's already moving. His body doesn't ask permission. 8 months of grief and loneliness propel him forward. Kier, wait, Dante calls. Kier doesn't stop, can't stop. His feet carry him down the pier, faster and faster, until he's running despite the weight of pregnancy and armor. The figure turns. And it's him, it's really him. Marrow Vale, alive, wearing burn scars like a new skin, thinner than before, exhausted, but alive. Kier, Marrow breathes. Kier crashes into him, arms wrapping around Marrow's waist, face pressed against his chest, breathing in the scent that's haunted his dreams for 8 months. Cedar and rain. Home. You're alive, Kier sobs, you're really alive. Marrow's arms close around him, gentle, reverent, like Kier's something precious that might shatter. I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. Behind them, Dante approaches with his gun still drawn. Vale. Marrow looks up and something complicated passes between the two alphas. Understanding, respect, gratitude. Thank you, Marrow says quietly, for keeping him safe. Don't thank me yet, Dante replies, we're not out of this. As if summoned by his words, lights blaze to life around the pier, vehicles roar to life, armed figures emerge from every shadow. They're surrounded. Halden Quad steps into the light, smiling that practiced smile. What a touching reunion, almost makes me regret interrupting. Dante's gun snaps toward Quad. Around them, Dante's men take positions, but they're outnumbered, badly. You can't win this, Quad says pleasantly. I have 30 men, you have 20, and the Omega's in the middle of it all. Let them go, Marrow says, his voice rough. This is between us. Oh, I don't think so. You see, I needed you alive just long enough to draw out your mate, and now that I have both of you, Quad's smile widens. Well, let's just say the Vale bloodline ends tonight. Kier's hand moves to his belly. The pup kicks once hard. Over my dead body, Dante says. That's the idea. Quad raises his hand, ready to signal the attack. Time seems to slow. Kier sees Dante's finger tightening on the trigger, sees Marrow shifting to shield him, sees Quad's hand beginning to fall. And then, sirens, dozens of them, converging from every direction. Quad's expression falters. What? Police vehicles and federal trucks crash through the warehouse district perimeter. Armed agents pour out, weapons trained on Quad's men. Halden Quad, a voice booms through a megaphone. You're under arrest for murder, conspiracy, racketeering, and attempted murder of a federal witness. Quad's face goes pale. Federal witness. Marrow steps forward, pulling a recording device from his pocket. Every word you just said was recorded, and transmitted directly to the FBI. His smile is cold. Did you really think I'd come here unprepared? Kier stares at Marrow in shock. You've been working with the FBI. For 8 months, Marrow confirms. Since the crash, they helped me fake my death, hide my recovery, and build a case against everyone involved. He looks at Dante. Gregor Tate has been in federal custody for 3 weeks. He's been singing like a canary. Dante's expression shifts from anger to understanding. You used us as bait. I used Quad's obsession with Kier as leverage. I knew he couldn't resist a chance to eliminate us both. Marrow's voice is steady despite the pain in his eyes. I'm sorry, but it was the only way to end this permanently. Quad's men are surrendering now, overwhelmed by federal agents. Quad himself stands frozen, watching his empire collapse in minutes. You'll pay for this, Quad snarls, both of you. I don't think so, a new voice says. A woman in a federal agent's jacket approaches. She's older, confident, with sharp eyes that miss nothing. Special Agent Rivera, I've been building a case against your organization for 2 years, Mr. Quad. Thanks to Mr. Vale's cooperation and testimony, we have enough evidence to put you away for life. Quad's smile finally breaks. Fear flashes across his face before agents surround him, snapping handcuffs onto his wrists. As they lead him away, he twists to look at Kier one last time. The pup won't be safe. Someone will always come for Vale's heir. No, Agent Rivera says firmly. They won't, because we've arrested 47 people tonight. Your entire operation is done. Quad disappears into a federal vehicle. Silence settles over the pier like snow. Kier stands there processing what just happened, The danger's over. Quade's arrested. The threat's eliminated. It's over. His legs give out. Both Dante and Marrow lunge to catch him, their hands meeting as they steady Kier between them. I've got him, Marrow says. So do I, Dante replies. They lower Kier to sit on a crate. Maya rushes over with water. Are you okay? Marrow asks, hands cupping Kier's face. Is the pup? We are fine, Kier says shakily, just overwhelmed. Marrow's hands drop to Kier's belly, his eyes widen when the pup kicks against his palm. I felt it, I felt them. Him, it's a boy, Kier's voice cracks, you have a son. Marrow's face crumples. He drops to his knees in front of Kier, pressing his forehead against Kier's belly. I'm so sorry I wasn't there, that I let you go through this alone. You weren't, Kier's hand moves to Marrow's hair. You were building a case, keeping us safe. I should have found another way. There wasn't another way, Dante says quietly. He stepped back, giving them space, but his eyes are still watchful. Quade would have hunted you forever. This was the only way to end it. Agent Rivera approaches. Mr. Vale will need your full statement. And Mr. Halden, I'd like to get you checked by a paramedic, just to be safe. Kier nods, but when Marrow starts to pull away, Kier's hand tightens in his hair. Don't leave me again. Never, Marrow promises fiercely. Never again. I'm done hiding, done running, I'm staying right here. The paramedic checks Kier while Marrow holds his hand. The pup's heartbeat is strong. Kier's vitals are elevated but stable. No signs of labor. You're lucky, the paramedic says, but you need rest, real rest, no more drama. I'll make sure of it, Marrow says. Dante watches this exchange with an unreadable expression. Finally, he approaches. Vale, a word. Marrow kisses Kier's forehead. I'll be right back. The two alphas step away, speaking in low tones. Kier can't hear the words, but he sees the body language. Tense at first. Then Dante's shoulders relax. Marrow nods at something Dante says. Finally, they shake hands. When they return, Dante looks at Kier. I'm withdrawing my protection. You don't need it anymore. Dante, you have your mate back. The threat's eliminated. My job's done. Dante's voice is professional, but something flickers in his eyes. But if you ever need anything, if anyone threatens you or that pup, you call me. Understood? Understood, Kier says softly. Thank you for everything. Dante nods once, then he turns to Marrow. Keep them safe. With my life, Marrow promises. Dante walks away, Maya and his men following. They disappear into the night like shadows, leaving Kier and Marrow alone under the distant lights. 3 weeks later. Kier wakes to sunlight streaming through unfamiliar windows. For a moment, panic flares. Where is he? Why doesn't he recognize this room? Then Marrow's arm tightens around him from behind, and everything comes flooding back. Home, he's home. Marrow's estate, the one Kier used to visit before everything went wrong. The one they'd talked about moving into together. The one that's now been thoroughly swept by federal agents and declared completely safe. Morning, Marrow murmurs against Kier's neck. His voice is still rough from the smoke damage to his lungs, but it's getting better. Morning, Kier replies, hand moving automatically to his belly. 29 weeks now. The pup's bigger, stronger, kicks visible from the outside. Marrow's hand joins his, palm spread across the curve. He's active this morning. He's always active, takes after you. God, I hope not. I want him to be smart like you, brave like you. Kier turns in Marrow's arms to face him. The burn scars are still healing, pink and raw in places, but Marrow's eyes are the same. That same intense gaze that first caught Kier's attention in a gallery 2 years ago. I'm still angry at you, Kier says quietly. I know. You let me grieve, let me think you were dead. 8 months of my life I can't get back. I know, Marrow repeats. His hand comes up to cup Kier's face, and I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you, however long it takes. What if it takes forever? Then I'll spend forever trying. Marrow's thumb brushes across Kier's cheekbone. I love you, I never stopped loving you. Even when I couldn't be with you, even when I couldn't contact you, you were all I thought about. Kier's throat tightens. The federal agents, they said you asked about me constantly, that you were tracking my movements through Dante's reports. Every day I knew when you went to the safe house, when you had contractions, when Quade's men got close. Marrow's voice cracks. It was torture, knowing you were in danger and not being able to protect you myself. But you were protecting me. in the only way you could. It should have been enough, it should have. Kier kisses him, stops the words before they can spiral into more guilt. The kiss is soft, hesitant at first. 8 months apart, 8 months of grief and anger and survival. But then Marrow's hand slides into Kier's hair, and the kiss deepens, becomes something desperate, something that tastes like apology and reunion and promise. When they finally break apart, both breathing hard, Kier says, "I forgive you." Marrow's eyes widen. What? "I forgive you, I'm still hurt, still healing, but I understand why you did it, and Kier's hand covers Marrow's on his belly. "I don't want our son growing up with his parents holding grudges. I want him to know love, real love, the kind that survives even when it's hard." Marrow pulls Kier close, careful of the belly between them. His face presses into Kier's neck. "I don't deserve you." "Probably not, but you're stuck with me anyway." They lie there as morning light fills the room. Outside, birds sing. Inside, the pup kicks against both their hands. "We need to talk about the birth," Marrow says eventually. "The doctor wants you at the hospital by week 37. I've hired the best obstetrician in Seattle. And security, lots of security." Marrow, "I know it's excessive. But Quade's associates are still out there, and until the trial's over." "Hey," Kier tilts Marrow's face up to meet his eyes. "I trust you. If you think we need security, we need security." Relief floods Marrow's expression. "Okay, good, because I've also been talking to Dante. He's offered to coordinate the security detail." Kier smiles. "You two are getting along now." "He kept you alive when I couldn't. I owe him everything." Marrow's jaw tightens. "And he's a good man, better than I gave him credit for." "He is," Kier agrees. "I should call him, thank him properly." "He'd like that." They spend the morning in bed, talking, planning, touching each other like they're still convincing themselves this is real, that they're really together, that the nightmare's finally over. Later, Kier sits in the nursery they've started preparing. The walls are painted a soft blue. A crib waits in the corner, still in pieces because Marrow insists on assembling it himself despite Kier offering to hire someone. "I want to do it," Marrow had said. "I missed so much, let me do this." So Kier watches as Marrow struggles with instructions and screws, muttering curses when pieces don't fit right. It's domestic, normal, everything Kier dreamed about during those lonely months of running. His phone buzzes, a text from Dante. "How are you holding up?" Kier smiles and types back, "Good, really good, thank you for checking." The trial starts next month. Agent Rivera wants you to testify. Kier's stomach twists. He knew this was coming, but testifying means facing Quade again, means reliving everything. "Will you be there?" Kier types. "If you want me there, yes." "I want you there." "Then I'll be there." Kier sets down the phone, hand moving to his belly. The pup shifts under his palm. "Papa's terrible at building furniture," Kier tells him, "but he's trying, that's what matters." Marrow looks up from the crib instructions. "Are you mocking my construction skills?" "Absolutely, you're a billionaire CEO who can negotiate million-dollar deals, but IKEA defeats you." "This isn't IKEA, this is boutique baby furniture, there's a difference." "Is there, though?" Marrow abandons the crib to cross the room, kneels in front of Kier's chair. "You're glowing." "I'm pregnant and exhausted." "You're beautiful." Marrow's hand rests on Kier's belly. "Both of you." The pup kicks against his palm. Marrow's face lights up every time, like it's a miracle he never expected to witness. "Dante texted," Kier says, "about the trial." Marrow's expression sobers. "You don't have to testify if you're not ready." I want to look Quade in the face and tell him he lost, that we survived, that he didn't destroy us. Then we'll do it together." Marrow's voice is firm. "I'll be right there with you." "Promise." "Promise." The trial takes place on a cold November morning. Kier's 34 weeks pregnant now, big enough that walking is awkward, big enough that the courtroom provides him a chair with extra cushions. Marrow sits behind him in the gallery, close enough to touch if Kier needs it. Dante's there too, sitting beside Marrow in an unlikely alliance that makes Kier smile despite his nerves. Agent Rivera presents the case methodically. Evidence of murder, conspiracy, racketeering, every crime Quade committed over decades of criminal enterprise. When it's Kier's turn to testify, Marrow squeezes his shoulder before he stands. "You've got this," Marrow whispers. Kier approaches the witness stand. His hands shake, but his voice is steady. He tells the truth, all of it, about Marrow's supposed death, about running while pregnant, about being hunted through Seattle's rain-soaked streets, about the fear that kept him awake at night, wondering if his pup would ever be born safe. Quade stares at him from the defendant's table. That practiced smile is gone. In its place is cold fury. "You cost me everything," Quade says during cross-examination. "No," Kier replies firmly. "You cost yourself everything, by choosing power over humanity, by choosing murder over peace." The prosecutor objects, but Kier's words hang in the air. When he finally steps down, Marrow's there to steady him, to guide him back to their seats, to whisper, "I'm so proud of you." The verdict comes 3 days later. Guilty on all counts. Life in prison without parole. Kier watches as they laid Quade away in chains, watches as the man who haunted his nightmares disappears behind prison doors. It's over. Really, truly over. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm, cameras flash, questions are shouted. But Marrow's security team clears a path, and soon they're in a car, driving away from the chaos toward home. "How do you feel?" Marrow asks. Kier considers, "Lighter, like I've been carrying a weight for 8 months and finally got to set it down." "Good," Marrow's hand finds his, "because now we get to focus on what matters, our family." Our family, the words settle warm in Kier's chest. They spend the evening at home. Maya stops by with dinner. She's transitioned from Dante's security team to their household staff, a position she claims is infinitely less stressful. "Though watching you two navigate baby preparation is its own kind of chaos," she says with a smile, watching Marrow still struggling with the crib assembly. "I've almost got it," Marrow insists. "You said that 3 hours ago." "This time I mean it." Kier laughs, real laughter that feels rusty from disuse but good, so good. That night he wakes to cramping. At first he thinks it's Braxton Hicks, the practice contractions he's been having for weeks. But these are different, stronger, more rhythmic. "Marrow," Kier says, shaking his mate's shoulder, "I think it's time." Marrow bolts upright, time as in the baby's coming, now. Chaos erupts. Marrow's calling the hospital, pulling on clothes, grabbing the prepared bag. Maya's coordinating security. Dante, who apparently insisted on being notified when labor started, texts that he's on his way. They arrive at the hospital at 3 in the morning. The obstetrics ward is ready, thanks to Marrow's advanced planning. The labor is long, painful. Kier's body working through hours of contractions, while Marrow holds his hand and murmurs encouragement. "You're doing amazing, so strong, so brave." "I hate you," Kier gasps during a particularly brutal contraction. "I know, you can hate me all you want, just keep breathing." Finally, after 14 hours, the doctor says, "One more push, give me one more." Kier pushes, puts everything he has left into it. And then, a cry, high and indignant and beautiful. It's a boy, the doctor announces, placing the tiny, squirming infant on Kier's chest. Kier stares down at his son, at the tiny face scrunched up in displeasure, at the small fists waving, at the perfect miracle he's been carrying for 9 months. "Hi," Kier whispers, tears streaming down his face. "Hi baby, I'm your mama, I've been waiting so long to meet you." The pup, the baby, settles at the sound of Kier's voice, his eyes open, unfocused but searching. Marrow stands frozen beside the bed, tears running unchecked down his scarred face. "He's perfect, Kier, he's perfect." "Do you want to hold him?" Marrow nods, unable to speak. The nurse helps transfer the baby to Marrow's arms. And Kier watches as his mate meets his son for the first time, watches as Marrow counts tiny fingers and toes, watches as he presses a kiss to the baby's forehead. "Hello Kieran," Marrow says softly. They'd chosen the name weeks ago, a combination of both their names. "I'm your papa, and I promise, I will never let anything hurt you. I will protect you with everything I have." The baby makes a small sound, like agreement, like trust. There's a knock on the door. Dante and Maya enter hesitantly. "Is this a bad time?" Dante asks. "No," Kier says, smiling despite exhaustion. "Come meet him." They approach. Dante's expression softens in a way Kier's never seen before. Congratulations, Dante says quietly, he's beautiful. Do you want to hold him? Marrow offers. Dante looks surprised, then carefully, reverently, he takes the baby. For a man who commands through fear and violence, he holds the infant with remarkable gentleness. Hey little one, Dante murmurs, your parents are two of the strongest people I've ever met, you're lucky. Maya snaps a photo on her phone. For the records, she says with a grin, the day Dante Ruscetti went soft. I'm not soft, Dante protests, but there's no heat in it. He passes the baby back to Kier. But I am honored, thank you for letting us be here. After they leave, it's just the three of them, Kier, Marrow, and Kieran. Their family. Marrow climbs onto the hospital bed beside Kier, careful not to jostle him. Together, they watch their son sleep. I can't believe he's real, Marrow says. I can't believe we made it here, after everything. We survived, Marrow agrees, because we had to. Because he needed us to. Kier looks at Marrow, at the scars that prove he survived the unsurvivable, at the eyes that still see Kier like he's something precious. I love you, Kier says. I love you too, both of you. Marrow's hand covers Kier's on the baby's back. Thank you for not giving up on us, for being strong enough to survive until I could come back. Thank you for coming back at all. They sit in comfortable silence as the sun rises outside the window. A new day, a new beginning. The threat's eliminated, the trial's over, and they have their whole lives ahead of them. Lives they almost lost, lives they fought to keep. Lives that are finally, blessedly, their own. 2 years later, Kieran toddles through the garden, chasing butterflies with the single-minded determination of a 2-year-old. His dark hair, Marrow's hair, catches sunlight. His laugh, Kier's laugh, echoes off the estate walls. Careful, Kier calls from the patio, don't run too fast. But Kieran's already fallen, landing on soft grass with an oof that's more surprise than pain. Marrow's there in seconds, scooping him up. You okay, buddy? Kieran nods, already distracted by a ladybug on Marrow's shirt. Kier smiles, watching them. His hand moves unconsciously to his belly, where a new life grows. 4 months this time. A girl, according to the ultrasound. You're glowing again, Maya observes, bringing out iced tea. I'm sweating, it's summer. Both can be true. Maya settles into a chair. Dante called. He and his mate are coming for dinner next week. His mate, Kier raises an eyebrow. Dante has a mate. Apparently, met him 6 months ago, some artist from Portland. Maya grins, says the man makes him want to be better. It's disgustingly romantic. Kier laughs, good, he deserves happiness too. Marrow returns with Kieran on his hip. The toddler immediately reaches for Kier. Mama. Hi baby, Kier takes him, settles him on his lap. Did you catch any butterflies? Fast, Kieran declares, too fast. Maybe when you're bigger. Big now. Okay, maybe you're big, but butterflies are bigger. Kieran considers this logic, accepts it with a solemn nod. Marrow sits beside them, arm around Kier's shoulders. This is nice. It is, Kier agrees. And it's more than nice. It's everything Kier dreamed about during those desperate months of running. Peace, safety, family. The nightmares still come sometimes. Dreams of bullets and rain and Quade's smile, but they're getting rarer, quieter, easier to wake from. Because now when Kier wakes, Marrow's there, and Kieran's in the next room, and a daughter's growing inside him. The life they almost lost is fuller than he ever imagined. I have something for you, Marrow says, pulling a small box from his pocket. Marrow, before you protest, just look. Kier opens the box. Inside are 2 rings, simple, elegant, perfect. I know we're already mated, Marrow says, but I want to make it official, legal, forever. His eyes meet Kier's. Will you marry me, again, properly this time? Kier's throat tightens. Yes, always yes. They kiss, gentle and sweet, while Kieran makes disgusted sounds between them. Yucky, Kieran declares. Oh yeah, Marrow grins, what about this? He tickles Kieran's sides until the toddler's shrieking with laughter. And Kier watches his family, his loud, chaotic, perfect family, and thinks. We made it, against every odd, through every nightmare, we made it. The bullet that should have killed them instead saved them. The crash that should have destroyed them instead forged them stronger. The hunt that should have ended them instead led them home. To this moment, this garden, this life. Together. Finally, beautifully, irrevocably together. And that's worth everything. Thank you for watching this story. If it touched your heart, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next chapter of stories that inspire, challenge, and remind us what it means to protect the people we love. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your words inspire others. Share this story if you know someone who needs to hear it. See you in the next one.